Lesson 1, Courtroom Drama.
Afternoon, Anna. Can I ask you something about the legal system?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to help if I can. What's on your mind?
Well, I've been following this civil suit in the news, and I'm a bit confused about the burden of proof.
Ah, I see. In a civil suit, the burden of proof is lower than in a criminal case.
Really? I thought it had to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt in all legal proceedings.
Not quite. In a civil trial, the plaintiff only needs to prove their case by a preponderance of the evidence.
Preponderance of the evidence? Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure, essentially the plaintiff has to show that their version of events is more likely true than not.
Okay, I think I understand. So the client doesn't have to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. The standard is much lower in a civil case compared to a criminal trial.
Fascinating. I didn't realize there was that big of a difference. Thanks for clarifying, Anna.
No problem at all, I'm happy I could help explain the distinction. Let me know if you have any other legal questions.
Will do. This has been really insightful. I appreciate you taking the time to walk me through it.
Lesson 2, Shopping Trip Secrets.
Hey, Anna, can I pick your brain about something?
Of course, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm planning a trip to the mall with my family, and I wanted to get your advice.
Absolutely, I'm happy to help. What kind of tips are you looking for?
Well, I've heard that malls have these things called buggies or strollers that you can use to push around small children. Is that true?
Yes, that's definitely true. Malls often have complimentary strollers or shopping carts that you can use to transport little ones around.
Interesting, I didn't know that. And is it true that there can be a lot of walking involved in a mall trip?
Oh, definitely. Malls can be huge, sprawling complexes. You can easily rack up several miles just browsing the different stores.
Wow, good to know. I'll have to make sure everyone wears comfortable shoes.
Absolutely. Comfortable footwear is a must for a successful mall outing, especially with little ones in tow.
Great advice. Anything else I should keep in mind as I plan this trip?
Let me think. Oh, and be sure to pack some snacks and drinks. Malls can get crowded and it's easy to get hangry.
Good point. I'll make sure to bring some healthy options to keep everyone fueled up.
Sounds like a solid plan. Let me know if you have any other questions as you're preparing for the big shopping trip.
Will do, thanks so much for the helpful tips, Anna. I feel much more prepared now.
Lesson 3, Bucket List Adventures.
Morning, Anna. I have an exciting question for you.
Hey there, John. What's on your mind?
Well, I've been thinking a lot about my bucket list lately. You know, all the places I want to visit before I kick the bucket.
Ooh, interesting. What kind of destinations are on your bucket list?
Well, the one that's really been calling to me is the Grand Canyon. I've heard it has the most stunning views.
The Grand Canyon, huh? That's an incredible choice. The scale and beauty of that natural wonder is simply breathtaking.
That's exactly what I've heard. I can just imagine standing on the edge and taking it all in. Have you been there before?
I have, actually. I went a few years ago, and it was truly awe-inspiring. The sheer size and depth of the canyon is just mind-blowing.
Wow, I'm so jealous. What was your favorite part of the experience?
That's a tough one. I think my favorite part was watching the sunset over the canyon. The way the colors change and dance across the landscape is simply magical.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I can just picture it now. Definitely adding that to my must-do list when I visit.
You're going to love it, John. The Grand Canyon is definitely a bucket list destination worth crossing off.
I can't wait. Thanks for sharing your experience and getting me even more excited about this trip.
Of course, happy to help fuel your adventure spirit. Let me know if you need any other tips as you start planning your Grand Canyon getaway.
Will do, thanks Anna. This is going to be the trip of a lifetime.
Lesson 4: The Apostles' Advice.
Yo, Anna, I've got a thought-provoking question for you.
Ooh, intriguing. What's on your mind, John?
Well, I've been reflecting on what Jesus said to his apostles, and I'm curious to get your take.
Ah, I see. The teachings of Christ are certainly profound and thought-provoking. What aspect are you particularly interested in?
I'm especially curious about the advice Jesus gave his apostles as he prepared them to carry on his mission.
That's a fascinating topic. From what I recall, Jesus emphasized the importance of faith, humility, and service to others.
Exactly. He really drove home the idea of putting others before ourselves, didn't he?
Absolutely. Jesus constantly challenged his followers to have a heart of compassion and to be willing to make sacrifices for the sake of the greater good.
Absolutely. And he also seemed to stress the importance of resilience in the face of adversity, right?
Yes, that's a great point. Jesus knew his apostles would face many trials and tribulations, so he encouraged them to remain steadfast in their faith and to never lose hope.
Definitely. I find it so inspiring how he equipped them to carry on his mission, even when the road ahead was uncertain.
Me too. The wisdom and foresight Jesus displayed in his teachings is truly remarkable. He set his apostles up for success, even though the path wasn't always clear.
You said it. I think there's a lot we can still learn from those timeless lessons today.
Absolutely. The guidance Jesus provided his followers is just as relevant and impactful in our modern world.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for chatting with me about this, Anna. It's really given me a lot to ponder.
Lesson 5: Travel Planning.
Hey, Anna, I've got a question for you. Any specific countries you've been thinking of visiting lately?
Ooh, good question. I've actually been considering a trip to Italy. Have you ever been?
Italy, huh? That sounds like an amazing destination. I've heard the food and culture there are absolutely incredible.
Definitely. I'm so intrigued by the rich history and stunning architecture. And of course, the pasta and wine are a huge draw.
Absolutely. Italy has always been on my bucket list too. What parts of the country are you hoping to explore?
Well, I'd love to start in Rome and see all the iconic landmarks like the Colosseum and the Pantheon. And then maybe venture out to places like Tuscany and the Amalfi Coast.
Ooh, the Amalfi Coast, that would be breathtaking. I've seen pictures and it looks like an absolute dream.
Right? I can just imagine strolling along the cliffside villages and taking in the azure waters. It would be the perfect blend of relaxation and adventure.
Totally. And you could balance that with a few days immersed in the history and culture of Rome. Sounds like the perfect Italian getaway.
Exactly. I'm getting excited just talking about it. Have you given any thought to where you might want to go next?
Well, I've been toying with the idea of visiting Japan. I'm really intrigued by the blend of ancient tradition and modern innovation.
Japan, huh? That would be an incredible journey. What's piquing your interest the most about that destination?
Well, I'd love to explore the bustling streets of Tokyo, taking in all the neon lights and high-tech gadgets. But I'm also drawn to the tranquil Zen gardens and historic temples.
Ooh, yes, that perfect juxtaposition is what makes Japan so alluring. You could have such a well-rounded experience there.
Absolutely. I feel like I'd come back with a whole new perspective. Travel really does have a way of broadening the mind, doesn't it?
Couldn't agree more. There's nothing quite like stepping outside your comfort zone and immersing yourself in a new culture.
Agreed. Well, thanks for chatting about this, Anna. I'm feeling even more inspired to start planning my next big adventure.
Lesson 6: Booking travel online.
Hey Anna, have you been looking into booking your Italy trip yet?
I have, actually. I've been doing some research on the best way to go about it.
Oh yeah? What have you found so far? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, I've been looking at booking directly through airline and hotel websites, but I'm also considering using a travel booking site.
Interesting. What's making you lean towards using a booking site?
I've heard that sometimes you can find better deals by booking through sites like Expedia or Kayak. They tend to have more package options.
Ah, I see, that makes sense. Have you come across any specific deals you're interested in?
Actually, yes. I found a really nice package that includes airfare, a centrally located hotel in Rome, and a guided tour of the Colosseum.
Wow, that does sound like a great deal. What kind of savings are you seeing compared to booking everything separately?
From what I can tell, the package deal is saving me a couple $100 compared to booking everything individually.
Nice, that's a pretty substantial difference. I can see why that would be appealing.
Exactly. And it takes the hassle out of coordinating everything myself, you know?
Definitely. Sometimes it's worth paying a bit extra for that convenience factor.
Absolutely. Plus, the tour of the Colosseum is something I definitely want to do, so having that bundled in is perfect.
That's a great point. Getting that kind of excursion included is a nice added bonus.
Definitely. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that package deal. It just seems like the best way to maximize my Italy experience.
Sounds like a smart move. I'm sure you're going to have an amazing time over there.
Thanks, John. I'm really excited about it. Let me know if you end up booking anything for Japan, okay?
Will do. Enjoy your trip planning.
Lesson 7: Finding the right direction.
Excuse me, do you happen to know which way the bus stop is?
Sure, it's just down the street on the right side. You can't miss it.
Ah, okay, perfect. I was just trying to figure out which way to head.
No problem at all. It's right there on the corner, just a short walk away.
Great, thanks for the directions. I don't come this way very often, so I want to make sure I don't get lost.
Understandable. This neighborhood can be a bit tricky if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding. Do you ride the bus around here often?
I do, actually. I take it to work every day. I'm happy to help point you in the right direction.
I appreciate that, thanks. Which bus line should I be looking for?
The 42 bus is the one that stops at that corner. It runs every 20 minutes or so.
Perfect, that's the one I need. Okay, I think I've got it now. Right down the street on the right side.
Exactly. Just look for the big blue bus stop sign. You can't miss it.
Got it, thanks so much for your help. I feel much less lost now.
Glad I could assist. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Will do. Have a great rest of your day.
Lesson 8: Breakfast Bonanza.
Hey Anna, did you smell that delicious aroma from the kitchen? Seems like someone's been busy cooking up a storm.
Good morning, John. Yes, I couldn't help but notice the mouth-watering scent. It's making my stomach rumble.
Well, then let's go see what's for breakfast. I'm starving.
Race you to the kitchen. Last one there has to do the dishes.
Oh, you're on. Runs to the kitchen.
Sounds like a plan. I could use the exercise after this hearty meal.
Excellent idea. I'm already looking forward to it.
Lesson 9, A Delightful Breakfast Conversation.
Hey Anna, I noticed you brought some freshly baked croissants to work today. They look delicious.
Ah yes, I stopped by the bakery on my way in. Would you like to try one? I have more than enough to share.
I'd love to, thank you. I haven't had a good croissant in ages. So, how was your weekend? Did you get a chance to relax?
It was wonderful, actually. I spent Saturday morning at the farmer's market and then had a leisurely afternoon reading in the park. So peaceful and refreshing.
That sounds lovely. I wish I could have joined you. My weekend was a bit more hectic, cleaning the house, running errands, the usual. But I did manage to fit in a nice jog on Sunday morning.
Ah, good for you. Exercise is so important, especially with our sedentary jobs. I really should make more time for that.
Well, you know what they say, a healthy body, a healthy mind. Maybe we could go for a walk together during our lunch break sometime this week? It would be a nice change of pace.
That's a wonderful idea. I'd love that. We could grab a salad or something light and enjoy the fresh air.
Sounds like a plan. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, and please, have another croissant. They're simply divine.
Lesson 10, A Lively Conversation About Hobbies.
Morning, Anna. I couldn't help but notice you've been bringing in some delicious looking homemade treats lately. Are you a skilled baker?
Good morning, John. Yes, I do enjoy baking in my free time. It's such a relaxing and rewarding hobby. What about you? Do you have any interesting hobbies?
Well, as much as I love your baked goods, my main hobby is actually reading. I try to set aside time each day to get lost in a good book.
Reading, huh? That's wonderful. What kind of books do you usually enjoy? I'm always looking for new recommendations.
I'm a big fan of historical fiction and adventure novels. Recently, I've been reading a captivating series about explorers in the Amazon rainforest.
Ooh, that sounds right up my alley. I'll have to add that to my reading list. You know, besides baking, I also really enjoy experimenting with new recipes in the kitchen.
Is that so? Well, I'd be more than happy to be a taste tester if you ever need one. I love trying new foods, especially homemade dishes.
It's a deal. In fact, I've been wanting to try my hand at making a classic Italian tiramisu. Perhaps you can come over for dinner one night and be the judge.
Sounds delightful. I'll bring the wine. You know, it's been great chatting with you about our shared love of the culinary arts.
Lesson 11, A Trip to London.
Hey Anna, I've been meaning to ask, do you have any fun plans for this weekend?
Funny you should mention that, John. I was actually thinking of taking a trip to London this Saturday. Have you ever been?
London? That sounds fantastic. I've always wanted to visit. Is there anything in particular you're hoping to see or do?
Well, I was planning on hitting up a few of the classic tourist attractions, like Buckingham Palace and the Tower of London. But I'm also hoping to explore some of the city's hidden gems.
That's a great idea. London has so much history and culture to discover. Let me check the train schedules. I'd love to join you if you don't mind the company.
Not at all. I think it would be a lot more fun to explore the city together. Plus, you could probably show me some lesser-known spots that the average tourist might miss.
Absolutely. I've got a few favorite pubs and bookstores that I'd be happy to share. Say, do you have any must-see museums or galleries in mind?
I was thinking the National Gallery and the V&A Museum, but I'm certainly open to suggestions. What do you think would be the best way for us to maximize our time there?
Well, if we take an early train, we could probably fit in a few major sites before lunch, then spend the afternoon exploring more off the beaten path destinations.
Sounds like a plan. I'll go ahead and book our train tickets. This is going to be such a fun adventure. I can't wait to see what treasures we uncover in London.
Me neither. I have a good feeling this will be a trip to remember. Just let me know the details, and I'll be ready to go exploring with you this Saturday.
Lesson 12, Anniversary Celebration.
Morning, Anna. I couldn't help but notice you seem to be in a particularly cheerful mood today.
You caught me, John. Today is a special day. It's my wedding anniversary with my husband.
Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations. Did you two do anything special to celebrate?
We sure did. We started the day with a lovely breakfast at our favorite cafe, and then we're going to a concert tonight that we've been wanting to see for ages.
Sounds like a wonderful way to mark the occasion. How long have you and your husband been married?
5 years, can you believe it? Time has just flown by. We've been through so much together, but I feel like we're stronger than ever.
That's really inspiring to hear. Marriage can be such a beautiful and rewarding journey, even with its ups and downs.
Absolutely. And you know, the little moments are just as important as the big celebrations. Like last night, we just had a quiet night in watching our favorite show, and it was just perfect.
I love that. Cherishing the simple pleasures is so important. Do you have any advice for keeping that spark alive over the years?
I'd say the key is making time for each other, even with busy schedules. And always remembering to appreciate the little things about your partner that you fell in love with.
That's great wisdom. I'm sure your husband is a very lucky man to have you. I hope you two have an absolutely wonderful anniversary celebration tonight.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate the kind words. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be the one congratulating you on your own anniversary.
We'll have to see about that. For now, I'm just happy to share in your joy. Enjoy the concert.
Lesson 13, Perspectives on Land Ownership.
Hey Anna, I was hoping to get your take on something. I've been reading about the history of land ownership, and it's really got me thinking.
Oh? What have you been learning about it? I'm always interested in understanding different perspectives on important societal issues.
Well, from what I gather, the traditional view has been that the land belongs to the nobility or the wealthy landowners. But it seems there were also other groups with a stake in it.
Ah, yes, that's a good point. While the aristocracy and wealthy merchants certainly held a lot of the power when it came to land, the common people had their own perspectives as well.
Exactly. I read that even the peasants and workers who actually tended the land felt a sense of ownership and responsibility for it, even if they didn't hold the legal title.
That's fascinating. It speaks to the idea that land ownership is about more than just the paperwork, it's also about the human connection and investment in the land.
Absolutely. And it seems the richer landowners sometimes clashed with the locals over the use and management of the land.
Interesting. I can imagine there must have been a lot of tension and resentment there, with the powerful elite trying to exert control over land the common people felt was rightfully theirs.
You're right. It's a complex issue without any easy answers. But it's important to try to understand all the different perspectives involved.
I agree. By looking at the nuances and considering the experiences of various groups, we can gain a more holistic and thoughtful understanding of the dynamics around land ownership.
Definitely. It's a great example of how an issue can have many sides, and how important it is to keep an open mind. Lots to think about there.
Lesson 14, Exploring Spain.
Yo Anna, I've been dying to plan a trip to Spain. Got any tips on how I can make the most of it?
Ooh, Spain sounds amazing. I've always wanted to visit. What kind of things are you hoping to see and do there?
Well, I'd love to hit up all the big tourist spots, like Barcelona, Madrid, Seville. But I also want to try to get off the beaten path a bit, if possible.
That's a great approach. Spain has so much rich culture and history beyond just the major cities. Have you thought about maybe visiting some smaller, charming towns?
Definitely. I was reading about these whitewashed villages in the countryside that look absolutely picturesque. Somewhere to experience the real Spanish way of life.
Totally. And the food. I've heard the tapas scene in Spain is out of this world. You'll have to make sure to indulge in all the local cuisine.
For sure. I'm already planning on packing an extra pair of pants for all the eating I'm going to do. Can't wait to sample all the paella, churros, and sangria.
Haha, good plan. And don't forget to leave room for siestas too. The Spanish really know how to balance work and leisure.
Absolutely. I'm going to immerse myself in the whole laid-back Mediterranean lifestyle. Maybe even pick up a few Spanish phrases while I'm at it.
That's a great idea. The locals will really appreciate the effort, and you'll get to connect with the culture on a deeper level.
Exactly. I want this trip to be more than just ticking off a checklist of sites. I want to really soak it all in, you know?
I admire that approach. Spain is such a vibrant, multifaceted country, there's so much to discover beyond the surface level.
Totally. I'm really excited to dive in and have an authentic Spanish adventure. Thanks for the awesome tips, Anna.
Lesson 15, Furry Friends in the Park.
Yo, Anna, I'm thinking of taking my dog to the park this weekend. You want to join me with your pup?
That sounds like so much fun. I'm sure our dogs would love to run around and play together.
Awesome. My little guy has been cooped up at home too much lately. He could use the exercise and socialization.
Same here. My dog gets so excited whenever we go to the park. He loves making new four-legged friends.
I bet they'll hit it off. My dog is super friendly and loves meeting new people and pets.
That's great. My dog can be a bit shy at first, but once he warms up, he's a total goofball.
Ha, well, I'm sure they'll bring out the best in each other. Parks are the perfect place for dogs to just be dogs, you know?
Definitely. And it'll be nice for us to get some fresh air and enjoy the outdoors too. Maybe we can even pack a little picnic.
Ooh, good call. I can bring some of my famous homemade dog treats, and you can supply the human snacks.
Sounds like a plan. This is gonna be the ultimate dog-friendly park day. I can't wait.
Me neither. I'm sure our pups are gonna have a blast running around and making new friends.
Absolutely. This is gonna be the start of a beautiful dog-walking friendship, I can just feel it.
For sure. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what time works best for you and we'll make it happen.
Will do. I'll check with my dog and get back to you. This is gonna be the highlight of our weekend, for sure.
I agree. Time to let the dogs out, am I right? Can't wait, Anna.
Lesson 16, Exploring the European Legacy.
Morning, Anna. Have you given any thought to the European legacy of political ideas? I've been reading up on it lately.
Ooh, that's a fascinating topic. I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you think the European legacy has shaped our modern world?
Well, we often take for granted the foundations of democracy, rule of law, and individual rights that trace back to Europe. Without that legacy, we might not have achieved as much as we have.
Absolutely. The Enlightenment thinkers in Europe really laid the groundwork for a lot of the political and social progress we've seen. It's amazing to think about.
Exactly. Figures like Locke, Rousseau, and Montesquieu had such a profound influence on the development of modern government and society.
Hmm. And let's not forget the impact of the French Revolution and the American Revolution, both of which drew heavily on European philosophical traditions.
Good point. Those seismic events really put those ideas into practice and showed their power to transform the world.
Definitely. It's incredible to think about how much our current political landscape is rooted in that rich European heritage.
Totally. And of course, the legacy continues to evolve and shape new ideas and movements today. It's an ongoing process.
Absolutely. There's still so much to unpack and explore when it comes to the European legacy. It's a deep well of history and thought.
For sure. I could go on all day about it, but I don't want to monopolize the conversation. What are your thoughts on the topic?
Well, I think it's a hugely important part of our shared global history that deserves more attention and appreciation. There's so much to learn from it.
I agree wholeheartedly. The European legacy has had such a profound and lasting impact, and it's crucial that we understand and celebrate it.
Couldn't agree more. This has been a really engaging discussion. I'm glad we got to explore this topic together.
Me too, Anna. Discussing the European legacy has been a real pleasure. Thanks for sharing your insights.
Lesson 17: Boosting Productivity.
Yo, Anna. Have you noticed any improvements in your productivity lately?
I have actually. I've been trying out some new strategies, and I feel like I have a lot more energy throughout the day.
That's awesome. What kind of things have you been doing to boost your productivity?
Well, for one, I've been making a conscious effort to take regular breaks and get up from my desk more often. I find that really helps me recharge.
Ah, that's a great point. It's so easy to just plow through and end up feeling drained. Breaks are key.
Exactly. And I've also been trying to plan my day better, setting clear priorities and time blocking my tasks.
Nice, that's a smart approach. Having that structure and focus can make a big difference.
Totally. And I've found that cutting out distractions, like closing unnecessary tabs and silencing notifications, has been a game changer.
Oh, yeah, those little things can really add up and sap your productivity. Minimizing distractions is so important.
Absolutely. And the other thing that's made a big impact is just being more mindful of my energy levels throughout the day.
Ah, yes, tuning into when you're feeling your best and optimizing your schedule around that. Smart move.
Exactly. I've noticed I'm way more productive in the mornings, so I try to tackle my most important tasks then.
That makes total sense. Capitalizing on your natural rhythms is key. Sounds like you've got a great system going.
Thanks, John. I'm really pleased with the progress I've made. It's amazing what a difference these small tweaks can make.
For sure. I'm going to have to try out some of your strategies. Could use a productivity boost myself.
Well, I'm happy to share more tips if you're interested. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Absolutely. I'm all ears. This has been super helpful. Thanks for the great conversation, Anna.
Lesson 18, Preserving the Bison Bounty.
Yo, Anna, did you know that a single buffalo hunt could yield over 30,000 pounds of meat?
Whoa, that's an incredible amount of food from just one hunt. How did they even store all that meat back then?
Well, the Native Americans had some pretty ingenious ways of preserving it. They would often store the meat in fat to keep it fresh.
Fascinating. I can't even imagine the logistics of that. Where would they even put 30,000 pounds of meat?
They were masters at utilizing every part of the buffalo. Nothing went to waste. They'd dry the meat, use the hides, even make tools from the bones.
That's incredible sustainability and resourcefulness. I bet they had a well-oiled system for processing and storing all that meat.
Oh yeah, it was a well-honed process. They'd cut the meat into thin strips and dry it in the sun to make jerky.
Smart. The drying would help it last much longer. And storing it in fat is genius for keeping it fresh.
Exactly. Those hunters knew what they were doing. They'd have enough meat from one hunt to feed their whole tribe for months.
Wow, that's seriously impressive. I have so much respect for their ability to maximize every bit of that bison bounty.
For sure. They were true masters of survival and sustainability in the wilderness.
It's fascinating to learn about those ancient food preservation techniques. Really makes you appreciate how resourceful they had to be.
Absolutely. Those are definitely some lessons we could all stand to learn from today.
No doubt about it. Thanks for sharing that interesting history, John. Really gives you a new perspective.
Anytime, happy to geek out about this kind of stuff. Keeps me in awe of our ancestors' incredible ingenuity.
Lesson 19, The Art of Creativity.
Morning, Anna. I've been meaning to ask, what's your take on the best art supplies for budding artists?
Ooh, that's a great question. As a bit of an art aficionado myself, I've definitely got some thoughts on that.
Awesome, I'm all ears. I've been wanting to explore my creative side more, but I'm a bit overwhelmed by all the options out there.
I totally understand. Well, I'd say a good starting point is to invest in some high-quality colored pencils, a nice sketch pad, and a few basic paint brushes.
Ah, that makes sense. I imagine the quality of the materials can make a big difference, huh?
Absolutely. The better the supplies, the more satisfying the creative process. And don't forget about things like blending tools and erasers.
Good call. I wouldn't have even thought about those little extras. Any other must have items in your opinion?
Let me think. Oh, I'd definitely recommend getting a set of drawing pens in various line weights. They're super versatile.
Ooh, drawing pens, got it. And what about paint? Any particular types you'd suggest for beginners?
Well, acrylics are a great place to start. They're affordable, easy to work with, and you can layer them nicely.
Awesome, that's really helpful. I feel like I'm getting a good grasp on the essentials now.
Glad I could be of assistance. Oh, and one more thing, don't forget a good quality sketchbook. That's key for building your drawing skills.
Right on, noted. This is all super valuable, Anna. I can't wait to start gathering up my art supplies.
Wonderful. I'm sure you're going to create some amazing pieces. Just remember to have fun with the process.
Absolutely. That's the whole point, isn't it? Thanks so much for the awesome tips. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, John. I'm happy I could help ignite your creative spark. Let me know how it goes, okay?
Will do. This has been a great conversation. You really know your stuff when it comes to art supplies.
Lesson 20, Contractual Conversations.
Afternoon, Anna. I've been meaning to discuss our contract. I believe we could strengthen it with a few key additions.
Interesting, John. I'm all ears. What kind of additions did you have in mind?
Well, I was thinking we could include more specifics around deliverables and timeline. That would help provide clearer expectations.
That's a good point. More defined milestones and deadlines could definitely optimize our workflow.
Exactly. And maybe we could also incorporate some language around intellectual property rights.
Good call. Making sure we have a shared understanding on ownership and usage rights is crucial.
Absolutely. I want to make sure we're both fully protected as we move forward with this project.
Agreed. Any other provisions you think would strengthen the contract?
Well, one other thing I had in mind was a dispute resolution clause. Just in case we hit any snags down the line.
That's smart thinking. Having a clear process for addressing conflicts would give us both peace of mind.
Totally. I figure it's better to get all those details ironed out up front, you know?
Completely. The more comprehensive the contract, the smoother the collaboration will be.
My thoughts exactly. So, what do you think? Shall we schedule a time to review the contract together?
Sounds good to me. I'm happy to carve out some time to go through it line by line.
Excellent. I appreciate you being so open to strengthening our agreement. It's going to make this project rock solid.
Likewise, John. I'm glad we're both on the same page about tightening up the contract details.
Absolutely. This has been a really productive conversation. I'm confident we're setting ourselves up for success.
Lesson 21: Overcoming Intimidation.
Morning, Anna. I wanted to talk to you about something that's been on my mind lately.
Oh? What's that, John?
Well, I've been finding eye contact to be a bit intimidating in certain situations.
I see. That can definitely be a challenge for some people. What do you think contributes to that feeling for you?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it might have to do with feeling vulnerable or put on the spot.
That's understandable. Eye contact can feel very intimate and expose us in a way that some find uncomfortable.
Exactly. And in professional settings, it can feel even more intense, you know?
Absolutely. It's like there's an added pressure when it's in a more formal context.
Definitely. Any suggestions on how I can work on being more comfortable with eye contact?
Well, one thing that's helped me is to remember that it's a two-way street. Making eye contact is a sign of confidence and engagement.
That's a good point. I tend to think of it as the other person trying to read me, rather than a mutual exchange.
Right. Try to reframe it as a way of actively listening and connecting, rather than being put on the spot.
I like that perspective. And maybe I can start small, with shorter bursts of eye contact.
Exactly. Baby steps. You can gradually increase the duration as you build that comfort muscle.
That makes sense. And perhaps I can also focus on maintaining eye contact during specific parts of a conversation.
Definitely. Pinpointing certain moments, like when you're making a key point, can help make it feel more natural.
Great advice. I appreciate you taking the time to discuss this with me, Anna.
Of course, John. I'm happy to brainstorm ways for you to feel more at ease. It's an important skill to develop.
It really is. I'm confident that with a bit of practice, I can overcome this hurdle.
Absolutely. Just remember to be patient with yourself. Overcoming intimidation takes time and consistent effort.
Good point. I'll keep that in mind as I work on improving my eye contact comfort level.
Lesson 22: Budget Apartment Hunt.
Say, Anna, I've been on the hunt for a new apartment and could use your input.
Oh, really? What kind of place are you looking for, John?
Well, I'm hoping to find something affordable, ideally around $1,200 a month.
$1,200 a month, that's a decent budget to work with. Where are you focusing your search?
I've been looking in the city center, but the prices there seem pretty steep.
I can imagine. The downtown area is usually the priciest. Have you considered the suburbs or outer neighborhoods?
That's a good point. I haven't really explored those areas yet. Any recommendations?
Well, there's a neighborhood about 15 minutes outside the city center that's quite affordable. Lots of newer apartment complexes there.
Oh, that sounds promising. What's the general vibe of that area?
It's a up-and-coming neighborhood with a nice mix of young professionals and families. Plenty of shops and restaurants nearby too.
That sounds right up my alley. What's the average rent for a one-bedroom in that area?
From what I've seen, you could likely find a nice one-bedroom in the $1,100 to $1,300 range.
Perfect, that fits my budget nicely. I'm definitely going to check that neighborhood out.
Awesome, I'm glad I could point you in the right direction. Let me know if you need any other apartment hunting tips.
Will do, thanks so much, Anna. This gives me a great starting point for my search.
Happy to help. Wishing you the best of luck finding the perfect new place.
Appreciate it. I'll keep you posted on how the apartment hunt goes.
Lesson 23, Movie Night Preparations.
Alright, Anna, are you as excited as I am for our movie night this weekend?
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to it for ages. Did you manage to get the snacks and drinks we needed?
You bet. I stocked up on all the essentials: popcorn, candy, soda, the works. Anything else you think we should grab?
Let me think. Oh, I know. We should pick up some ice cream too. You can never have too many movie snacks.
Excellent idea. I'll make sure to add that to the list. Is there anything else you want to pick up while we're out?
Well, I did spot a few new releases at the video store that looked promising. Might be fun to check those out.
Ooh, good call. I can't wait to see what new titles they have. This is going to be the best movie night ever.
I agree. We're going to have so much fun. I can practically smell the buttery popcorn already.
Me too. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Alright, let's make sure we have everything we need.
Sounds good. I'll double check the list and meet you at the store, okay?
Perfect. I'll see you soon. This is going to be epic, I can feel it.